Elias was a man of logic, a man of science and reason. His world was built on a foundation of tangible proof and irrefutable facts. So when the solicitor's letter arrived, informing him he'd inherited his great-uncle's secluded manor in the Blackwood Valley, he regarded the accompanying local rumors with a dismissive shrug. The Whispering Walls. Te. Calle d'Italiano, a quaint, superstitious name for an architectural marvel. To Elias, it was a Victorian masterpiece, a relic of a bygone era, not a nest of ghostly fables. The drive into the valley felt like a journey back in time. It craded out, spinning around, ready to fight, but there was nothing there. The corridor was empty. The rocking chair was still. Heart pounding in his chest, he practically fell down the stairs, stumbling onto the marble floor of the grand hall. And then he heard the whisper again, no longer at the edge of his hearing, but clear, right beside his ear. A dry, rasping voice. "You don't belong here." He stumbled toward the library, desperate for the familiar sight of his book and the comforting flicker of the candle. But as he burst into the room, he saw that the shadows were no longer just shadows. They stretched and twisted, elongating into grotesque, humanoid shapes that writhed on the walls and ceiling. The massive chandelier above him began to sway, slowly at first, then more violently, its crystals clinking together in a frantic, discordant chime, even though not a breath of wind stirred through the sealed windows. And then the sound returned. Thump drag, but it wasn't upstairs anymore. It was in the library with him. Thump drag. To his left, thump drag. To his right, it was circling him, the unseen steps of a lame creature closing in. Elias's mind raced, desperately trying to cling to logic, to reason. But every explanation failed him. This wasn't the house settling. It wasn't a draft. This was something else. The manor was not just old, it was aware. It was hungry. It remembered its dead. And somehow, it seemed to remember him. He backed into a corner, his body trembling, his eyes wide with terror, fixed on the single, flickering candle on the desk. He prayed for dawn, for the cleansing light of the sun to banish these horrors. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything stopped. The chandelier hung still. The whispers ceased. The rhythmic dragging fell silent. A profound quiet descended upon the room, broken only by the gentle flutter of the candle's flame. For a fleeting, hopeful second, Elias thought it was over. He thought he was safe. But in that deceptive moment of calm, he glanced at a small, decorative mirror hanging on the wall beside him. It reflected his own terrified face, pale and sweat-slicked in the candlelight. And it reflected what was standing directly behind him. Two of them. Two shadowy figures, identical to the one he'd seen upstairs. Their skin was pale and leathery, stretched tight over their skulls. Their black, unblinking eyes stared not at him, but through him. And then, in perfect, horrifying unison, they grinned, their mouths stretched, opening wider and wider than should be humanly possible, revealing rows of thin, needle-like teeth. Together, their voices combined into one sibilant, final whisper that filled his mind and soul. "Welcome home, Elias." The candle flame sputtered and went out, and the manor swallowed him whole.